All right, everyone, this is just a little spin-off, basically, of the Gen X video I made yesterday about tech censorship, specifically with that one, but I wanted to expand further because throughout my life, authority has always been like a stumbling block to success. For the most part, it's basically dumb. I'm beginning to think that the ANCAPs are fundamentally right, at least in the psychological sense, although I don't see it as a pragmatic solution to the problem of authoritarianism, because it would spawn authoritarianism. Yes, privatized abuse is still abuse. It's just the state under a new name. One thing, by the way, one quick aside. This is something that I must tell people. Authoritarianism is not just from the state. You can have a statist system that is very libertarian, or you can have something that's, not state-centric and is very authoritarian. You could have a mob rule ANCAP situation, something like that, where it's all privatized abuse. You could have a theocracy. You can have a direct democracy. Now, as long as the people are remaining calm and not fucking each other with their direct democracy, it's a libertarian system. The problem being if 51% of people want to make it more authoritarian, you've got the problem. That's why I support a strongly constitutional republic. The perfect system would be the U.S. if the Constitution were on steroids. This is basically what I believe. Here's the thing, though. Fuck the establishment. Fuck convention, fuck the rules, basically, because they're usually dumb. If we look throughout, just let's limit ourselves artificially to like the last 20 years or so of culture. So we're talking basically like in the wake of the internet becoming public, sort of, the new technological golden age we're supposedly in, or the last 25 years or thereabouts. Think about, for those of you who are old enough to sort of remember that era, it was the dawn of the early internet or culture, like in the Clinton era and stuff, if you're in the United States, or the Thatcher era or whatever. Think about how much has changed. How many rules are totally different. Things that you were taught were totally true are now flipped on their head. Something that you took for granted then is now considered false. Something considered impossible then is now a day-to-day reality. Technologically, certainly, this would surely be the case. Think about how much things change, and think about how badly authority has done the whole time. Like even in your personal life, you were probably let down by parent, teacher, relative, friend, stuff like that over and over again. People have done crazy shit. When I think of that, I think if that natural inclination carries over towards governance, which it clearly does, or towards social leaders, quote unquote, which it certainly does, you're going to have the same problems on an even more mass scale. The problem is like in your personal life, like let's say someone, you loan a friend $50 and never pay you back or something. It's regrettable, and maybe you have a falling out over it, although $50 is like, maybe not. Maybe you just like, you roll your eyes and then you don't lend them money again and you learn your lesson and try to overlook their greed or something. But like, let's say that happens. The only person who suffers detriment is you. You've lost $50. Now imagine, though, that same person runs for office and becomes a governor or something. Well, that inclination is still there, and the problem is now when they embezzle money, it's a larger sum and it's from the entire tax-paying body. I would think that's a problem. The problem is that the establishment is made up of people who basically, they slide into a comfy existence of one sort or another, and then they start trying to look for problems. And when they do that, they become busybodies. And it's a psychological flaw in mankind that this is one of the tendencies that we have, because it really prevents us from having a utopian system. It's non-stop struggle forever. I do not believe in any utopian system. That's why I'm not an ANCAP. That's why I oppose communism. That's why I oppose, hardline fascism, like the tradcon side of things. Those systems won't work. They're too utopian. They seek to solve problems. You can't solve problems through authoritarianism. You can waylay them, you can change them, you can cover them up. Ultimately, the only way to do it the best way is to limit things as much as possible and let people sort things out themselves in a private sense while maintaining the core idea of a state, just to prevent other forms of authoritarianism that are worse from potentially growing, like tumors. It's basically having a little authoritarianism to prevent a lot of it. As strange as though that may sound, I know some purist libertarians will say, well, that's a horrible idea. That's how the state starts growing. Well, arguably, but you can constrain it more. But the establishment is always wrong. Censorship is never noble. It's always malevolent, and it always will be. The state will always have some abuse that it undergoes, and it'll always require people to push back against it. People get lazy. And then those lazy people seek office, or they become church leaders, or they become civic leaders and shit like that. And the establishment is just fucking terrible. And it's fucking boring. You think the establishment always fights against everything that's entertaining too. Like when I was a kid, like it was, you know, MTV, fucking in the Jackass era, I mean, of it, which was like, some people are like, well, they should have just keep doing the music videos and stuff. Yeah, but some of the, like Beavis and Butthead and Jackass and stuff, that was pretty fun. Or you'd think of shock jocks on the radio, them always getting abused, like a Stern or something like that. Or you think of YouTubers in the current era. Somebody who has something edgy and exciting and fun to say. So, somebody who insults others and is funny because they do it and they get kicked off and they're not allowed to do that anymore because feels. People might feel badly. Little Jimmy might see someone say the word cunt. It's a terrible time. Somebody might tell an off-color joke. Ooh, you know, like they never do that in private, but you're not allowed to do it online. That's just a bunch of bullshit. I remember in the ICQ chat era when their censorship caused their site to fail because I wouldn't stop trolling them for 3 years nonstop. And it was a great time, like breaking taboo and fighting censorship and like being anti-establishmentarian, whatever established power you're talking about. That's the most fun you can ever have. Just to be a thorn in the side of busybodies and people who deserve to have a little bit of an inconvenience in their life. They need to lighten up, but they're incapable of it. And so, yes, they should suffer to some extent because they're always causing others to suffer. They're always trying to keep everybody else down and censor, and they fucking go through their trash to make sure they're loyal. They're the sort of people that say, well, if you don't worship like I do, if you don't believe in the politics I do, if you don't like the music that I do, eat the food that I want, if you don't follow my way of life, there's something terribly, horribly wrong with you. I, of course, say, well, there's something terribly, horribly wrong with anyone who lives their life like that and has so much concern about what others are doing. Half the time, they're all messed up, too. It's sort of like, you know, the old joke about the parent lecturing their kid. They've got a Marlboro in their mouth, and they're telling their kid not to smoke. Oh, don't drink, Billy. Well, that's a terrible time. You know, bullshit like that. Don't have sex. Oh, where did I come from? Oh, the stork brought you, kid. Bunch of fucking hypocrites, basically. Yeah, people should take a walk on the wild side and fucking lighten up a little bit. Joke at life. Because, I mean, it is a clown world at this point. Fucking just, you know, enjoy the ride, I guess. It's going straight off a cliff. I can't wait to hit the bottom. That's about all. Peace out.